Introducing a new podcast. Karen Hunter is awesome.
If you like me on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, you're gonna love me. And Karen Hunter is awesome. Hey, this is Karen Hunter, host of the Karen Hunter Show on SiriusXM's Urban View. Karen Hunter is awesome is an actual podcast to bring heat and energy and knowledge and power. A 1-2 punch that I don't think you get anyplace else. Tell the truth. So check out the podcast wherever you get your podcast. You will not be disappointed.
Karen Hunter is awesome. A new podcast from Karen Hunter.
And the FOTUS administration is ordering all federal employees in diversity, equity, and inclusion roles placed on paid leave by tonight, according to a new memo from the Office of Personnel Management. The memo issued Tuesday to heads of departments and agencies set a deadline of no later than 5 p.m. Eastern time, which is in an hour and 20 minutes, and that they will be put on paid administrative leave as the agencies prepare to close all DEI-related offices and programs and to remove all websites and social media accounts for all offices. It also asks federal agencies to submit a written plan by January 31st for dismissing the employees. FOTUS signed an executive order on Monday ending racial and, quote, wasteful diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in federal agencies, with DEI offices and programs being ordered to shut down. But this does not just relate to the federal government. Many corporations have contracts with the federal government, and they too are walking in lockstep with this executive order. Let me welcome to the show. He is a friend and a family member. He is a lobbyist and a lawyer, and he's done a lot of things, including host for a period of time Urban View Mornings with Omi Bell. Let me welcome the one and only Don Calloway.
Triple salute, my sister. Happy New Year. Happy post Dr. King Day. Happy resist this this administration. All of that. Happy all the things. I haven't seen you in a long time. And peace and blessings to your audience, I've done a lot of media, and this is my favorite crew to speak with and be in community with. So thank you for having me back.
Thank you. As I've told you many times, this ain't media.
Yeah.
This ain't Texas. I mean, this is the place where we come to build the world that we want to live in. This is with these people. We need these people. So we need to feed these people. That's my edict. We need these people. So we need to feed these people. So tell us what you know about diversity. I've heard a lot of people talk about lawsuits and unions and things. And I'm like, where the lawsuits going? He's got the courts. I don't know. Tell us what we need to know.
Well, first of all, if you're a federal employee and you are getting word of these orders that you just read, go ahead and chill out and enjoy your paid vacation for a couple weeks, right? And ain't nothing wrong with that. They didn't say you were fired, but you get some time to chill. You just got an extended holiday, so congratulations to you. I would say that for folks in the private sector as well as in the public sector, if you are in DEI, if your job is explicitly DEI, it's definitely in prize, right? That's a chess term. You're definitely probably under attack and in some level of jeopardy. If you are in the private sector, you should feel comforted by the idea that the private sector is so big that they probably don't know where you are or how to come to you, and how to find you, how to eliminate your position, or how to eliminate any type of agreements or contracts that your company might have with the federal government. You are probably okay. A lot of this is messaging, and it is intended to do what it's doing, which is scare folks. Right. But if you work at some Acme Co. that makes nuts and bolts and widgets in the Midwest, you're probably okay. Unless you've got some Ken and Karen who want to whistleblow behind the boss's back, because I can tell you the CEOs of your regional HVAC company have first of all, probably ain't got no DE&I jobs. But if your company has reached the size, right, where there was somebody in HR doing DE&I, that company has no interest in the federal government coming in, poking around, telling them who they can have and who they can hire for what positions. So you are probably safe. And what the government can do is reduce federal contracting and reduce the federal employees dedicated to DE&I, but they probably ain't going to mess with you. This is a messaging proposition that is intended to scare, and it's probably doing that. But your company in the middle of nowhere in the flyover states probably doesn't have a whole lot to worry about, and your job is probably safe. That said, I'll say that's probably. That said, What you can do to ensure that you are safe is change your job title publicly and internally so that it has nothing to do with DE&I. And what you probably need to do is begin to think about your professional core competency that has nothing to do with DE&I, and at least publicly hold yourself out to the world as I do this. I am communications, I am marketing, I am messaging, I am HR, all of the things that don't strike the buzzwords in the algorithm that triggers Elon and Neuralink to come attack your job or your company via DE&I. Don't mean you have to change what you actually do. It certainly doesn't mean you have to change who you are and your internal values, but it's probably a good idea to begin to scrub some things from your public professional profile just to stay under the radar for the next couple of months. And I'll tell you, their messaging tirade might last the entire 4 years, but they are easily distracted. They are quick to move on to the next thing. They're going to be buying Greenland and mass deporting, which is evil, but they're not going to be thinking about this for the entirety of the 4 years. So change your profile and get back to the work you were doing, but lay low, play dead for the next, first half.
Okay. I disagree with you on the fear thing. The fear got him back in office. People are preemptively for a year getting rid of their DEI programs or changing the names of them. Nobody asked, Walmart and all these other companies to do that. They did it in anticipation that this was going to be a problem for them, and they wanted to be public in saying, we don't want nothing to do with DEI. That's fascinating to me that we have a nation of cowards. All of this talk about, we're Americans. No, you're cowards. You're a bunch of cowards because you let this man make you coward to something when these people in these jobs are probably doing great work. Now, I'm not saying all DEO. I know he did say Karen. You need to remove Karen from the, at least when you're on this show. Call her Amy or Jenny.
Forgive me.
And Jim, that's easy enough. But as folk are preparing for what's coming, I think what you honed in on is our skills. Our skills are what I was sharing with you. I came into the Daily News after they got sued for racism. And I was told by my boss that I was only there because I was Black. So I proceeded to let him know what Black people do. So I went out and became a rock star in a very short period of time because I was confident in my skills, that I wasn't just there because I was Black. But see how people try, like if I were a different kind of person with insecurity in that area, I would have been like, oh my God, maybe I am. And I would have laid low and been like I think they should double down on the excellence at their job so that they can be valuable. But I always tell my students this: know where the money is made and be in the money making place in your job, so that when they make cuts, they're not thinking about you.
So everything that you just said is right. But the flip side of that is that it presumes that DE&I is not a profit center from which value can be mined. We know that it is. So bringing in diverse perspectives in the form of diverse employees is something that makes a company more money, right? And those people are good at what they do for the bottom line, profit margin of the company. And so, it's tough because I don't want to suggest to Karen's Nation by any stretch of the imagination that you and I don't believe that DEI is a substantive skill set, because it is. All I'm suggesting is if you are looking for maximum safety, then you need to emphasize the non-DE&I characteristics of your fundamental role, at least in your public-facing professional profile. Because you and I know that DEI professionals are valuable and they add value to the enterprise, but that's under attack right now. So how do we safely shield ourselves, right, as a community from being the victims of or being the targets of that attack right now? Hold out your other credentials, bury the other stuff. Don't mean you have to stop doing the other stuff. And the reality is, a lot of these DE&I jobs came around when we all saw that guy kneel on Brother George Floyd's neck. And so a lot of these positions have long since been eliminated. If your job as a DE&I professional is still around and you are still doing that publicly as part of your title, the company probably likes you. And they have probably seen extraordinary value that you've created for them. And you are probably safe. Keep doing what you're doing. Continue to be excellent at it. Tweak the titles a little bit to protect yourself from this 47 folks out here.
I think there's an opportunity too, Don. And I don't know if, I feel like they create these things to put us in ghettos anyway. So that when they make their line item budget cuts, I always want to insert myself into places where I'm not going to be, which is why even when I was offered the opportunity to come on to SiriusXM, I was hesitant to come on Urban View. Yeah. I had other options. I was hesitant because I was like, oh, this is the channel that you probably not going to put any resources into.
That's right.
But then that became a strategy on my part, because then that also means you're going to leave me the F alone. I made a calculated decision, but even in that, you have to move about the cabin in a way that you got to see if you're working for somebody. My dad taught me the inside outside game. You work at a company, but you also work for yourself.
Yes.
So you got to do multiple things while you're there so that you're never at anybody's mercy. And I want people to not be at anybody's mercy, but some people about to, because those government jobs, those federal jobs have been very safe.
The federal jobs have been very safe, and they should still be. In my opinion, the bigger threat, if you are a federal government employee, is DOGE and the Department of Government Efficiency, right? Because Elon Musk and right wing.
Oh, okay, because I thought you were gonna say Vivek. I was like, Vivek already got fired.
Gone, but he was part of the setup. First of all, if you're in Cleveland, if you're in Columbus, if you're in Cincinnati, if you're in Akron, your job is to vote against Vivek Ramaswamy. I don't care who the Democratic nominee is, or if you're a Republican, I don't care who's running against him in a primary. Your job is to vote against Vivek Ramaswamy, and that is the first electoral opportunity to show the resistance to this administration. But the bigger threat to your job is probably DOGE more so than DE&I, because the federal government, like most private employers, should not just jack your position. They should give you the opportunity to repurpose. You look to repurpose employees, particularly when they've been in the game 16, 17, 18, 19 years, and they're trying to get to their 25 for retirement, right? So DOGE, which aims to reduce all of government and reduce all employees, frankly, in the interest of, Elon's Tesla robots, DOGE is the bigger threat to your job than the tax on DE&I, because the tax on DE&I should still allow you to pivot to find something else in the federal government employ to do.
But that's if that were the case. Like we know that the reason why this is an executive order is because he promised reparations for white men. No, he did, right? So we know that this is very personal for them. This is not about reducing the government, the expenditures in the government and cut the fat. This is not about that, because if that were the case, then you would tax the rich. You would not give tax breaks to people for their yachts and planes. This is not about that at all. This is a racial attack for sure.
Yes.
So,
there's no doubt about that. And there's no doubt that it is. I'm just talking about for the practical matter of protecting your job through retirement or for your own family's income security. Look to other spaces in the federal government that don't require the explicit titular roles of DE&I that you could potentially, and it ain't even got to be a 180 pivot. You could slide over to the next seat, the next cube, and you can ask your supervisor for these opportunities. Let's be clear about something. If you work in the IRS in Cincinnati, Ohio, or if you work in TTB in Cleveland, Ohio, you know your supervisor knows you, and don't neither one of y'all know Donald Trump, Elon Musk, or none of these folks you see on TV. Go to your supervisor and say, ma'am, sir, these are the jobs they talking about eliminating. I don't want that. Can you put me somewhere else? And that supervisor will likely do so because y'all probably know each other. You know each other's kids, and ain't no Anna animus between the two of
Right.
you.
Introducing a new podcast. Karen Hunter is awesome.
If you like me on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, you're gonna love me. And Karen Hunter is awesome. Hey, this is Karen Hunter, host of the Karen Hunter Show on SiriusXM's Urban View. Karen Hunter is awesome is an actual podcast to bring heat and energy and knowledge and power, a 1-2 punch that I don't think you get anyplace else. Tell the truth. So check out the podcast wherever you get your podcast. You will not be disappointed.
Karen Hunter is awesome. A new podcast from Karen Hunter.